Your body to. How you think? How's your doctor? Doing that? Oh, okay. Radiology, yeah. Oh, you can figure it out. Oh, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I wish I would have got. I'm sorry.
Very resonant. Physical transaction. There it is. Guys, kind of sound like that. It's quite a lot.
Oh, it's your kid? No, it's okay. Oh, yeah, it's okay. We'll go right here.
Yeah, what am I going to say? Yeah. Okay, you have to know, is there another musician? Just us two. Oh, yes. Oh.
And then buy some hard speakers.
No, I was going to buy you that because I thought that, you know, one thing about buying equipment, never rush out and buy it. Never say, oh, I got this Black Friday. He did?
Hey, oh my God.
So, you want to be the Oh, yes, we get it on. But it is on. Go ahead.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, yeah, that's fine. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's fine. Eric Yalagi is a rock star mom.
Hey, so happy I didn't have you.
Hey. Yeah, man. Couple months. At outdoor concert.
Oh yeah. At the
Downtown Claremont.
Okay.
The girl that you like so much singing, got the shirt.
Hi, everyone. We're going to start in about 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, hang on.
I'll stop.
Yeah, I did work on I worked on it. Yeah, oh, I was just gonna talk about, that's what I'm noticing, that we older, like the second front case. You got the first side.
Hey.
Hey, Rick. teaching us it's like, actually, you wish you would take, you have to leave right. You have to take your own time.
What's your name?
I'll be right here just in case you're thinking of the sound. You got time to get this?
Yeah.
It's good beer.
Yeah, it's good, right? We're gonna start in 1 minute. Leo, we're gonna start in 1 minute. I'm gonna start taking notes. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. Just as an introduction, we want to tell you who our readers are today. Our first reader will be Alan Callaci. And accompanying him on the guitar, I believe, will be Leonardo Flores. We also have Matieu, Cailler, Maggie Hover, Emily Fernandez, and me, Jem, Juanita, Mantz, and Eric Yolagi will be doing the backup playing after I finish. So we just want to thank everyone for being here. We want to thank Mark Givens and Dennis Callaci for being here. From Bamboo Dart and Telekinesis. And just so everyone knows, we are selling books. We also have new and used books by Sean in the corner. We have some Bamboo Dart books. Emily has a book coming out with Bamboo Dart Press, as does Maggie Hover. Matieu Cailler has a book called Catacombs of the Heart. It's wonderful. Alan has 2 books, 17 in Life and Heart Like a Starfish. One with Telekinesis, one with Bamboo Dart. And I have Portrait of a Deputy Public Defender with Bamboo Dart and Tales of an Inland Empire Girl with Will Smith Press. So we're going to start. So our first reader and musical styling will be Alan Callaci and Leo Flores. They're awesome. Welcome.
Okay, thank you, Juanita, and everybody for being out today. I'm going to do a little Prince theme, like a little reading, little writing, just a little bit of context. I used to do a lot of blogs for Huffington Post, BK Nation, and others. And during that year, I think it was 2016, we were losing a lot of great artists like David Bowie, Prince, Carrie Fisher. So I started getting into a routine where I would do memoriams for all these people, which I try to personalize them. So today I'm going to do my piece that I wrote right after Prince's passing. It's called Sometimes It Snows in April, an appreciation of Prince. How do you write when your head is still spinning? Prince has left us. What is there left to say about a visionary artist and the rich musical legacy that no one else has said already? His 1987 masterpiece, Sign of the Times, spoke of race, religion, politics, gender, and sex, backed by a power with mix of jazz, funk, punk, pop, gospel, rock, and covered more musical and terrain than most artists cover in their entire careers. In When Doves Cry, he created some of the most memorable beats to be found in modern pop music without even lifting a bass. As a live performer, he held the power to make an audience raunchily grind for joy in the face of Armageddon, or then lead them to sing to the heavens alongside him for some purple-colored salvation. We have never seen somebody like him before. We will never see his like again. My local DJ announced that Prince passed. She openly wept over the airwaves and proceeded to play Purple Rain. I sunk behind the wheel, frozen and stunned, in the air-conditioned confines of my Corolla. Prince Rogers Nelson dead at 57. You know what I'm singing about up here? Raise your hand. As the song reached its liberating and holy crescendo, the memories connected to it rose and broke through to the surface. You know that cliche they tell you about music being the soundtrack to your life? Believe it. We mourn an artist like Prince, whom we never knew as a flesh and blood human being, because they were woven into the fabric of our lives like a lifelong friend. I flashed back to my first job as a slacking and spat upon telemarketer at the LA Times and Raspberry Beret scented summer of 1985. Prince was right there with me. I used to bust up my coworkers, my broken wing coworkers, by serenading them with my own altered version of Prince's Raspberry Beret. I was working part-time at the LA Times. My boss was Havel and Keith. They told me several times that they didn't like my kind, because I was a bit too leisurely. That's a true story. The associations that I make with Prince run in a multitude of different directions. Performing a champagne-soaked karaoke version of Purple Rain at a friend's Las Vegas wedding reception. A magic-filled trek of piloting in a car with what seemed like a dozen friends to catch Sign of the Times on the big screen in LA, knowing full well it was never going to play anywhere near the strip mall screens near me. And being parked outside a Circle K parking lot, listening to The Beautiful Ones on endless repeat after a breakup became because it was the only thing that recognized me after the breakup and understood the contours of my recently fractured heart. His music helped pick me up those shattered pieces then. I look to it now to pick me up to do the same. My favorite Prince song is his masterpiece of loss and acceptance, Sometimes It Snows in April. It's difficult to listen to now, but maybe tomorrow it'll get a little bit easier. Sometimes it snows in April. Sometimes I feel so bad. Sometimes I wish life was never ending. All good things they say never last. I'd like to introduce Leo Flores on guitar. We're going to pull out a Prince tune. There's a lot of falsetto. I'm not as young as I used to be, or my voice. So I'd like to offer that warning in advance. And we've been practicing this for like 2 weeks, for 2 hours, somewhere in between. Yeah. Baby, 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 what's it gonna be? Baby, 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 is it him or is it me? It waste my time. Don't make me lose my mind. Baby, 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 to stay with me tonight. Baby, baby, baby. Can my kisses please you right? You are so hard to find. Beautiful ones, they hurt you every time. Paint a perfect picture, bring to life a vision. The beautiful ones always take the picture. Always, every time. If I told you, baby, I was in love with you, baby, 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 we could get married, would that be cool? You make me so confused. Beautiful ones, you always seem to baby, 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 what's it gonna be? Do you want him? Do you want me? I want you. I want you. May not be what you wanted for, I know. Said I may not be what you need, you know. One thing, you gotta know. Gotta know. Gotta know. Do you want me? Do you want him? 'Cause I want you. I want you. I want you. I want.
Trying to ruin all of our eyeliner, Alan. Beautiful. Amazing. Thank you, Leo, too. So next up, we have Matieu Cailler. He wrote a book called Catacombs of the Heart. Come on up.
Hi, everybody. I will not be singing, so that is good for you. It's really great to be here. Thanks for having me. Alan and I go back a long way now, I think almost a decade friendship, and all because of the literary arts, so it's really fun to be up here and be with all of you. There's some feedback happening with the mic, or we're okay? Okay. All right, first poem I'm gonna read is called This Password. Kind of inspired by the rage I feel every time I have to figure out what my password is for any site. This password. Sorry, your password does not contain one of the following. Your password must include a capital letter, 2 numbers, an exclamation point, a decimal, an M dash, 3 ampersands, the initials of your high school crush, the code from your first bike lock, Van Halen reference, a Shakespearean sonnet, a Biggie verse, a symbol from the periodic table, the latitude of your first kiss, the longitude of your last one. An introspective look at Plato's Apology, your driver's license number divided by 12. Maya Angelou's birthday, Rumi's favorite prime number. The amount of eggs in your grandmother's bun cake. The dollar amount left by the tooth fairy for your first molar. Bible verse from Corinthians. The waist size of your father's lees. Your grandfather's diastolic blood pressure. The heart rate when you lost your virginity. Your high score on Ms. Pac-Man. The number of brooches owned by your grandmother. The size of the first bra you unhooked. The highway on which you received your first DUI. The amount of times you bought flowers instead of apologizing. The postal address of the first house you egged. The number of ingredients in your special barbecue rub. The horsepower of a 65 Thunderbird. The number of pages in White Fang. The GPA of that foreign exchange student you cheated off of in math class. The ring size of your ex-wife. The day she began to feel unloved. The time of day she called and said she wanted to meet at the park. The sum of money her macchiato cost. The time she took, in seconds, to tell you she no longer loved you. The speed at which she pulled away from the curb. The number of times you've thought about her since. Sorry, your password does not contain one of the following. Please try again. Sorry, that exceeds 3 attempts. Please try again later. Thank you. Meaning. There are moments, thousands even, that I've yet to understand, but my skills seem to be sharpening. While many of us try to dissect the meaning of life and pile on work as its definition, I've come to understand it differently, especially here with you. On this Sunday morning, the cat stretched out, twisting in a spot of late spring sun, you with your glasses on, the Times quartered, and a pencil between your fingers in anticipation of a crossword eureka. There's a Dolly Parton record spinning, the smell of pancakes on the griddle, their bubbles sprouting before the flip, and this thick piece that I want to hold tenderly and press against my chest as if it were a newborn. This one is titled Deep into January, which seems to be fitting for this time of year. So I've never read this one because I've never done a reading at this exact moment in January, so it felt fitting. Now in the new year, we've put the X in Xmas, Advent calendars, doors ripped open, all 24 chocolate tenants evicted from their apartments, Christmas lights stripped from eaves and trees, some blinking, others burnt out from too much cheer. Pants tight, fell to digging, resolution already foregone. A dry pine strewn on the road, a line of tinsel as a trail of blood. And there on the front lawn, a puddle of a snowman due to a warm front, a newsboy cap, a pipe, and a carrot left as holiday spattered. Thank you.
Thank you for that beautiful reading, Matthew. Yeah, beautiful, very fitting. I want to thank Lisa and the team at High Point Brewing, and I'm going to quote Matthew here and say, resolution's already foregone, drink some beer. Okay. Next up, we have one of my favorite people in the universe, one of my spiritual gurus. She's coming out with a book with Mark Gibbons and Dennis at Bamboo Dart. And her name is Maggie Hover. Come on up here. We're very honored to have her.
Yeah, just true. Well, every word in this story is true. I had just gone to New York I've been recruited as a teaching chaplain for Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and I couldn't find a place to live. So I was looking at every grocery cart I saw at that point. I could have done that. The Honey Girl Saga, Chapter 1. God was certainly smiling on me when, in the last minutes of my 4-day search for a place to live in Manhattan, New York, I found an apartment on East 83rd Street. I should have known that the place was, how shall I put it, unusual. When I ventured out that first day to forage for supper for my son and myself, in the middle of a busy intersection, an elderly woman in a wheelchair snagged my sleeve. She pulled my head down to her level. I hear you pray, she said. Well, I've been known to do that, I replied. How did she know anything at all about me? I've only been in town for 3 hours. Pray for me, she ordered. I have a touch of bone cancer. So there, with cars whirling around us in the middle of the intersection at 7th Avenue, I prayed for Nana, the 93-year-old grandma of East 83rd Street. That was only the beginning. Honey Girl, the matriarch of our block, took one look at my belongings, which filled my apartment in the hallway, and trailed down the steps onto the street outside. You gotta do something with all that, she yelled. You'll get robbed blind. At that point, I was hoping I would be robbed, since I had no idea where everything was going to fit in that apartment. But it was August. I had driven my son from North Carolina that day, had picked up head lice from the movers, and hoped to drown myself in the shower. I had just gotten nicely soaked up when the intercom screeched, "Get out here right now, call 911, somebody's stealing your car." I should be so lucky, I thought, since I had no place to park and I discovered no need for a car anyway. But I knew if I didn't put in a token resistance, I would have Honey Girl to pay for it. I threw on a shirt and ambled down the front steps. By that time, Honey Girl had beaten up the robber, who fled down the street at the same time a cruiser pulled up from the other direction. Already took care of it, Honey Girl reported to the 2 very green cops in the front seat. And I want this street closed off at both ends by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning for our block party, she continued. Sure, the 2 youngsters scoffed. Honey Girl hoisted her short but formidable frame through the cruiser window and grabbed both cops by the collars. Listen to me. I'm the mother of 2 New York City cops, and I want those barricades up at both ends by 8 o'clock. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am, they whispered. And by 8 o'clock the next morning, the barricades were in place. The next morning, I encountered more of my neighbors. Honey Girl was the undisputed matriarch. She had lived with her husband, Bob, on the block for 40 years. She spent 23 hours of every day on the stoop at the center of the block, a 5-story brownstone walk-ups just around the corner from Gracie Mansion, Gloria Vanderbilt's high-rise, and the East River Promenade. Honey Girl decided coyly that she saved the remaining hour of each day for her husband. She was, shall we say, stalking. Bob worked the night shift underground repairing subway rails. When her boys were very young, Bob had a massive heart attack. Honey Girl was a diabetic, but she prayed that if God would let her husband live, she would give up insulin. Bob lived, and inexplicably, so did Honey Girl. Big Bob and Big Mary worked as caregivers in city programs to help the elderly stay in their apartments. For who knows how many years, they sat on the stoop next door every evening, each tuned into separate transistor radios where they listened to whatever ball games were broadcast. When it snowed, they sat on the stairs just inside. One year, Honey Girl declared they should get married, and she ordered Bob to get an engagement ring for Christmas. When Christmas came and no ring appeared, Honey Girl produced a ring and proposed for him. I think they are still sitting on the stoop, still with separate radios. Nana lived on the 5th floor, and so she used my bathroom since she spent most of her days in a wheelchair on her stoop. More about her, tighter than a Nataz Roy, that's what we call them, Crazy Louise, and the rest of the neighbors next time.
Wow, that blew us away, right? Wow. Can't wait to read her book. And you're going to be able to get that at Bamboo Dart this year. So just go on the bamboodart.com website and check that out. Next up, we have one of my best friends. I went to UC Riverside with her. We used to drink coffee and write our English papers overnight, 10-page papers due the next day. Emily is now a professor at PCC in Pasadena. She has a book coming out with Bamboo Dart this year. Welcome, Emily.
She said coffee, but it was beer. Come on. Hello, everybody. All right. I do hear it. So I'm going to start with a poem I wrote late last May when I was. Is it me? It must be me. I think that's good. Okay. So I'll start with the poem. I was desperately trying to talk myself out of a mild but persistent depression. So it was recently published in Dewdrop. So I want to see it there. Anyways, it's a great way to start a poetry reading. It's called Please Begin. Please begin. Please open your eyes. Place your feet on cool tiles. Please walk through doorways. Please take your first sip of coffee. Please remember to look at the elm tree. Please see how many roses bloomed, how many weeds have gone to seed. Please remember that today is not yesterday, that sleep is meant to divide us from the past, and night is made to give us thought space. Please know that the clock hands neither hold nor strangle you in the present moment, but they will scoot you along 1 minute to the next. Please do not pretend to know the future, but keep a calendar and a journal all the same. It's only fun to climb if you have a song to sing. Please forget everything I just said. Please splash water on your face. Please stretch your bones. Please eat a strawberry. Please breathe deep. Please let love in. Please begin. Really, this is a short one. Oh, Juanita, this one's for you. Anyway, I'll do it at the end. Okay. So this one is This one is. I don't even know my fault. I have to write it down. Okay, so this one's about my grandmother, whose mom died when she was young, and my grandmother was left to take care of her brothers and her father. She was just a young teen. So somehow she got away from Iowa and she found herself in home in California. And this is the poem Rowena. Dust clouded the windshield, coated your mouth, you behind the wheel, still young when you left your father's home. You spit it out, remembering your brother's advances. The water boiled, steamed your face when he stepped into the kitchen. You threw the water, but the heat blistered his skin, so he would know what his touch had done. How long did it take until you laughed at your freedom? His black car stolen, swerved, gobbled up the yellow lines. The wind pounded and tugged at the boxy exterior. The rain tapped the paint like small nails. You drove as far as you could to the ocean, where loneliness is palpable and sweet. Sand grit in your teeth as the orange sun set. They said it was not your turn to leave, as your mother and your older sister had done, but it never is until you say it is so. Mini mess going on. Okay. So this one, so my next book of poetry is called Pliny and Other Problems. And so maybe, I don't know, I had an obsession with Pliny. Maybe it's because my husband loves Pliny the Elder, but I started researching Pliny the Elder. I would research anything and Pliny the Elder would come up. So I have quite a few poems to Pliny. He was a scientist, but he was early in science, so he's mixing it with Roman mythology. So it's always interesting. He wrote a whole book called The Natural History. So this one is about the salamander. And salamanders, if you don't know, are creatures with many, many mythologies attached to them. So like salamanders have, they're kind of like magnets for mythology. They've been called aphrodisiacs. They've been, they have poison. Some are poisonous, so they have all these stories about them. But they also said that salamanders were born from the fire. It's probably because they lived in wood, so they would set a fire and they would run out of the logs, but they thought that they were being born at that moment because they hid so deep in the logs. Anyways, okay. So the last thing to say is that 1/3 of the planet's amphibian species are threatened with extinction. So this is a ode to the salamander. It's called Fire Within, which actually that's what salamander means. Yeah. Little facts for you. Okay. They worried about the salamander going extinct, but salamanders don't go down like that, baby. Pliny threw them into the fire just to see if they were ice cold. Sure, walking on water is cool, but what about walking on fire? What about putting it out with just a touch? Being born from flame? What about the myths saying you are a magician? You are a glowing tongue of light, spitting poison, killing off 1,000 troops by bathing in wine? What about dipping yourself in honey, putting us in the mood for love or death? Oh, drench me in that salamander blood. I want to know what it's like to not fear the heat that is ripping through our world. To know that, to be that cool when wildfire burns down a mountain range that circles my city, and ash drops like snow, and we choke on the thick air that turns our daylight orange. Choke on the IPCC reports put our hands up to the decade of waiting for the myths of deniers to finally lose their steam. Pliny was disappointed to find that, in fact, the salamander died in the fire. Disappointed like the naturalists who know all too well, extinction has it out for even the coolest of us. All right, this is just a true story, a little embarrassing, so here we go. The lifeguards. The low tide pulled its blanket off the edge of the shore and showed its crabs and shells. I walked to the place under the pier, where weekly I go to watch the waves crash along the concrete pillars. I bring my questions. I learn to listen. I ask what next and what to do with my little pains that plague me. Today, the water seems so shallow, and a shaft of light that beamed through. The waves spoke gently. We're safe. What if I kept walking through the pillars to where the long shadow ends and the ocean is pure and blue? I steadied my feet, feeling the sandbars that lifted me to my ankles or dropped me into waist-deep pools of green. Like a ship to the siren, I followed my song. Risk hardly real, just me wading out in the watery hallway of the cathedral to exaltation. Until I heard the whistle shrill, breaking the magic of my trance. I was the lifeguard's worst nightmare. And this was not my first time they called me back or chased me to the shore. I am an amateur open water swimmer. At 45, I decided I could swim out past the breakers to the playground of dolphins and sharks. Sometimes when you love something, you are willing to go neck deep in the thing that can kill you in a minute. Sometimes you are just fucking stupid. Walking through pillars, knifed with indigo barnacles in the rush of erratic waves. The lifeguard stood in his red shorts, reminding me of my dumb human frailty and his required need to care for it. I turned quickly at the whistle sound, suddenly shamed as I sloshed back towards my audience of beachgoers. On the dry sand, I pretended to listen to the lifeguard tell me what I already knew. Then I walked back to my chair a half mile away, picking up sand dollars snagged in the receding tides, giddy with a grin that I could feel in my ribs. And finally, this one is for Juanita, and it's we were waitresses when we were in college. So, and this is also for all young women in general. It's called Lucky Lady. When I was 19, my balding boss, an Italian restaurateur, told me to eat my self-bought meal with him during my unpaid break. He announced, "When I die, I hope it's on top of a woman." Lucky lady, I said, and put down my fork while he ate his calamari, which I later found out was pig dung.
Thank you, Emily. We are a bunch of lucky ladies and men to have you up here. So I just want to thank everyone for being here. Thank all the readers, all the performers. I'm going to read my piece, and Eric is going to come in at the end. I don't know, Eric, if you want to come up there and do a couple songs at the end.
Oh, do you want me to get my thing now?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, sure.
It's called Break the Glass. So it's what happened after I wrote my book about being a deputy public defender. Most days, I feel as if I am looking at myself trapped in a glass case, encased like a doll in a dome. There is no oxygen inside of here. I used to like the chaos. It was exciting. Now all I see is sadness. I've lost the ability to energize myself. What happened to the girl who wanted to change the world? Perhaps I realized the world is intractable, and the system which incarcerates us traps us all. A deputy public defender who is burnt toast, I keep busy, too busy. I can't say no, but I need to. No is such a small, hard word to say. Come on, punk rock girl, be brave. Like the lion from The Wizard of Oz, I need some courage to make it stop. Put 'em on, put 'em on. Some days, I feel as if I will lose my mind and end up in an insane asylum like Dorothy. Wasn't that a sequel in the movie? There was a woman this happened to. She showed up as a defendant in orange in the very courtroom where she used to represent defendants after committing a crime. I could see how it could happen. You just say fuck it and give in to the madness. Maybe that's easier. Last week, I had a dream. I had a dream that I was in a state hospital. I met a woman there who was dressed in all white. Like most dreams, it was surreal, lots of blue haze. She said, "You were my lawyer. I remember you." I started to cry, but then I woke up. Not to go off on a tangent, but thank God weed is legal. I can't smoke before work, but when I get home, I suck on it on my vape pen like a fucking candy cane on Christmas. Part 2. I only have 3 clients on today for my second job the county has given me, a new program where we put clients on diversion. But I have no time to start the program. Wednesday, meetings all day about the program I have no time to start. Then I prep my humongous calendar for Thursday. I sit at my desk, my stomach in pain, and I drink coffee after coffee and pop ibuprofen like candy. I drive home, I go upstairs. "Honey, you can't go on like this," my husband says. I shoo him away and tell him I'm fine. We both know I'm lying. I don't dream. Thank you, God. It's Juanita, remember me? Thursday, court at 8:30 a.m., drinking 2 espressos. I take a Xanax and a Tylenol, say fuck it and bring another Xanax in my pocket to court. I stop at the 7-Eleven and get a cold brew. It's gonna be a hell of a day. We are down 2 attorneys. One of them has been on extended bereavement leave for months. Our caseloads have doubled since COVID. Do you blame her? No one wants to come back to hell. None of the beds have opened up the state asylum, Canton State Hospital in San Bernardino, because of COVID. But the prosecutors keep on charging people with stupid shit, even though there are not enough attorneys to represent these people. We have 40 clients in custody today, 2 attorneys. A client calls me a cunt out loud in court, stands up, I back up, I send him down and get back to work. No harm, no foul, they say. Friday is the same as Thursday. That Friday, I come home after stopping to pick up a pack of cigarettes, even though I promised my husband I would quit. I had broken this promise 20 times this year. I sit in the backyard blasting 80s and punk and drank Michelob Ultra after Michelob Ultra. All my cigarettes are gone by 10 p.m. That night, I do dream. I dream I am Dorothy and I'm trapped in a snow globe without snow. I'm trapped with no way out to the land of Oz. I look out into the world and I want to break the glass, but I don't have a hammer. The yellow brick road is long. I can see it from inside the glass. The city of Oz glistens like an emerald, but it's so far away. I wake up shivering. I think about that old TV show that I used to watch with my dad with an actress named Margaret. She wore a horrible sexist outfit and she had a hair in a high ponytail. I think it was called I Dream of Jeannie. But what I recall most was how she was trapped inside of a bottle. I am trapped like her in a courtroom with only bottles at home for comfort. Part 3. The following Thursday, 50 clients on calendar and people are freaking out. One of my clients attacks another. There was blood on the walls, blood on the seats. I leave court as soon as I can and drive home and stop at In-N-Out. Fuck my intestines, I'm hungry. I drive home, think of the clients cowering in fear in the box, and I weep and I fall asleep. I do not dream. Someone once told me that criminal defense lawyers, most of them have had abusive childhoods. It makes the chaos seem normal. I used to love it, but not anymore. I want to work in a beautiful place with kids and flowers, maybe like that baking show on Netflix, the one that looks like Willy Wonka designed it. Not in a courtroom with people who are crying. But in my head, to quit is failure. I've been doing this job for 13 years. Unlucky 13. The next morning, I bleed into the toilet. I throw up again and again until there's nothing left. The next night, I drink, smoke another pack. I'm killing myself, not softly, not deliberately. I want to live, you see. I want to be somewhere else, I think, tapping my feet together. Surfing Amazon, I buy some crystals to protect me and put them in my pocket. Am I going mad? Maybe the system is mad. I think, let's listen to a podcast. I open up Eckhart Tolle, put on my headphones, and it brings me some peace of mind. He says, people choose suffering and security over change and insecurity because they live in fear. I meditate and fall asleep. Part 4. The next week, after a colonoscopy, I know TMI, one I had to reschedule 3 times because of work, I'm told I'll have to have surgery. I have growths. I call a meeting with my boss. We come to a compromise, a reduced schedule, normal for most. My boss ignores it, adds more and more onto an already full plate. My cup is overflowing with blood, sweat, and tears. I yell in my office at my Sex Pistols dolls. This job is going to fucking kill me. Plastic collectible Sid Vicious looks back at me and says nothing, but I know what he's thinking. Tell them to bugger off. I don't. Instead, I keep working to the sounds of Pretty Bacon in the background. I turn the music up. I'm drowning in case files and records. I still care about my job, but I almost feel as if this is impossible. The workload is impossible. I am not crazy. They're the ones who are crazy. That night, I don't sleep. I'm doubled over in pain. The next morning, my feet are so swollen that my shoes don't fit. I drive to the ER, but the wait is too long. I have a hearing at 8 a.m. I appear in court. The hearing takes 3 hours. Adrenaline kicks in. The doctor says, your kidneys are severely infected. That's why you're so swollen. You have to go home. No more work. The doctor looks at me, and I tell him, I think my job is going to kill me. I think I'm going to die. Tears fall down my face. I sigh in relief. Once he says, you're done. You're off till October. Part 6. The weight of the world eases off my shoulders for a moment. Everything looks tinged by colors of green. Sometimes you have to save yourself. I am my own hot air balloon. I will carry myself out of here. Break the glass. You were holding the hammer all along, and don't you ever forget it. I lost my last page, so I'm just going to say it from memory. I go into my office. I put on my out-of-office email. I put on my out-of-office voicemail. I break the fucking glass. I walk out of the office, fingers in the air, pogo dancing, and I breathe. Thank you.
All right. Somewhere over the rainbow, let's fly. The dreams that you dream, dreams really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are behind me, where trouble drifts like lemon drops, high above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Let's fly. And the dreams that you dream they do come. Why can't I? Someday I'll wish upon a star, wake up on the clouds are behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. The dreams that you dream, why can't As I was setting up with this, I thought of a Pink Floyd reference, but are all these your guitars? All right, so that was great. All you guys are amazing. So. That was my Beatles cover of that song, She's a Woman, or all right. Shyness is nice, and shyness can stop you from doing all the things in life you'd like to. Shyness is nice, and shyness can stop you from saying all the things in life you'd like to. So if there's something you'd like to try, if there's something you'd like to try, ask me, I won't say no, how could I? Coyness is nice, and coyness can stop you from saying all the things in life you like to. But there's something you'd like to try, if there's something you'd like to try, ask me, I won't say no, how could I? Standing warm summer days indoors, right in frightening love, to look to girl in Luxembourg. Ask me, ask me, ask me, ask me, ask me, ask me, because if it's my love, that is the bomb, 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 the bomb. Nature's a language, can't you read? Nature's a language, can't you read? So ask me, ask me, ask me, ask me, ask me, because if it's not love, then it's wrong. That'll bring us together. If it's not love, then it's the bomb. Then it's the bomb that'll bring us together. Oh, ask me, Thank you very much. All right, that's it for me.
Anyone wants to read my style? For at least another hour. So if anyone wants to get up here, read some more stuff, readers that have already read, people that are here, anyone that wants to read, you're welcome.
I was oh yeah. I'm so excited. Well, I learned on the guitar and I saw you at Roger Waters. Oh yeah, right. Oh, really? You were great too. Oh, thank you. How awesome. I was doing I had just